My name is Ben Joyce.
My form of art is Abstract Topophilia, which is the love of place.
And what people know me for is I'm the painter of place. People have such a strong connection to their place, the pride of place. And I thought, this just goes beyond traditional perspective. What you have to do is create lines that they can inject with their own connections of place. They're telling me their story of their place, and this becomes a piece of them. I'm painting these not for myself, I'm painting them for the individual. I grew up in the high desert outside of LA, a small town. It's called Acton, 3,000 people or so. I was always very artistic and very visual, and I used to love painting landscapes. When I came up to Gonzaga University, I traveled to Florence, Italy, and that was where my connection and awareness to the emotional connection to place really started to take seed and to develop. And this was when I was 18, 19 years old, and it was interesting to look back at that experience now and to see how much that sculpted my work and who I am today. I thought there's got to be a way to create a landscape that you can also inject this pride of place with. It was one moment that my wife and I moved back to Spokane that I was looking at the ceiling. It was a split second where all of a sudden I was laying on my bed and I felt that I was looking down on a city grid. And that's where it just kind of hit me that I've got to paint these pieces from an aerial perspective, kind of one of those lightning rod moments. I could never fully frame any one of my pieces because a frame would only confine what geography is. And so painting from this vantage point, each one of my pieces connects to the next piece that I create. Even in Spokane or Seattle or Vancouver, any one of these cities, your experience and knowledge of that place continues beyond the frame. There's so many areas from Coeur d'Alene, the top end of Coeur d'Alene, to Airway Heights that people connect with. There's so much life packed into that one perspective. They walked me through the convention center and they said, okay, well, what wall do you want? And when I got into that space, it's this massive, expansive wall. I thought, it's got to be that. So I just went for it, and they were just fantastic to work with because they just gave me, a free pass on what to create and really to represent not only the seasons in the piece, but then also bringing in a focalness into these different areas that people connect with. There isn't a certain style that doesn't allow me to inject into this work because a lot of this is life. There's a whole lot of ways to go about representing life, and if you look at this artwork, it's so subjective, and you may feel a connection to one style. Well, the next person sees it totally different. Most of my pieces are mixed medium. I use anything from woods to resins to oils and acrylics and watercolors and gels, and it just goes on and on. I'll work on maybe 4 or 5 pieces at a time. It's such a layering process here, this hurry up and wait. Well, it's exactly what this work is I can build up one layer and then I gotta let it dry and then build up another, and every piece that I create really has its own personality. That's the frame of mind that I have to approach every piece with. Let it develop, let it come to you and kind of be there to just put the paint on the surface. Google is one of my big corporate collectors. I think they have 20 pieces of mine in the Geo headquarters down just south of San Francisco. And it was interesting because I started this style before Google was around. I go off of satellite imagery to connect to the places that I want to create, and then there's the literal representation, and then there's combining that with the artistic side of it, and It's not much unlike any landscape painter. You look at an existing perspective and then you go and represent that in your own piece. And so that's where it's just from a different vantage point. The underlining message of all my work is love your place. That is the sole objective. So for me as an artist and a husband and a father, I've been put in a unique situation to really go and spread this message as far as I can. Maya Angelou has this incredible quote, which it's so simple, but it is perfect. It says it, we're much more alike than we are unalike. And that's what I'd love to represent also with this message is it doesn't require language. All it does require is that connection to place.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.